Hi everybody, Paul Cameron here from SpeedUpMyJobSearch.com with a clip from our monthly jobs-driven networking group, which meets in Wheaton, Illinois every third Thursday. Let's take a look.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure being here today. I know that we've talked quite a bit about this, and I'm excited.
And as I was talking with Ryan this morning, she mentioned some other things that are important for people to know, specifically about the FFCRA. You can tell us a little bit more about that and what it means if you're working someplace and all of a sudden you find out you test positive for the virus, can they fire you? Can you tell us a little bit about that, Ryan?
Yes, absolutely. I know that some employees do think that, oh my gosh, I get coronavirus. My employer is going to fire me. What am I going to do? And actually earlier this year, and I'm reading from the sheet of paper here, it's the FFCRA, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act that President Trump put into law. It was, I believe, right after this pandemic began. And basically, it's protection for employees who work for an employer with 500 or fewer employees to protect them, their job protection, and cover their personal instances with COVID, with the coronavirus. So the FFCRA does apply to employees who are diagnosed themselves with coronavirus, are awaiting test results for coronavirus, or a family member is affected by coronavirus. So in those situations, an employee is paid up to 10 days, so 10 weekdays at 100% of their pay to hold their job and hopefully, get them reinstated into the organization. Now, as many of you know, a lot of schools and daycares in the area have also closed, gone to e-learning, or closed simply because they were not able to stay in business, low enrollment, what have you. And acknowledging that a lot of working employees are parents and affected by those closures, the FFCRA also allows up to 12 weeks of paid time for employees who are affected by those situations. Now, the difference between I'm going to call it sick pay for COVID-related absences, the pay is called, I'm reading it here, paid extended family and medical leave provides up to 12 weeks for an employee off, but it's at a reduced pay, so 2/3 of their pay, which of course does provide coverage for them up to a certain point. Now, in some situations we have had, and I know others have been affected by, say, full-time e-learning with their children, which is a full-time job. So some employees do quit their job to be a full-time e-learning parent, basically, their child's teacher. So there's a few different things going on in the workplace related to the pandemic and COVID, and it's really up to the employer, the leadership team, and the employee to determine what works best for them. But it's important, again, if you are an employee with an organization that has 500 or fewer employees, there are options for you. So again, just because it's a pandemic, you get sick, or your child, can't go to school, the organization's not just going to fire you.
How have employers changed the way that they're looking at resumes and processing the applicants in this new environment?
Well, we are absolutely seeing a lot more resumes to all of our positions that we post. And as you can imagine, some are qualified, others are just, mass applying to positions, whether it is in their wheelhouse or not. So what we really have to do right now is spend a lot more time looking into the resumes. And I work for a smaller organization, and we don't have an ATS. So we are not, keyword searching. I am looking at each resume to see, is this person qualified? Could maybe their experience fit into our position in some sort of way, which is what I like about Iloka, is that, yes, we want employees to have experience related to our jobs, but do they have the ability to learn and grow into a position? And then also, for those employees who were laid off or furloughed, of course, they are high demand. If you have a talented senior accountant who was the victim of a corporate downsizing, if you see that resume, you want to jump on it quickly to make sure that you are able to attract candidate that was unfortunately affected by the restructuring. And then processing applicants, I know like today we're doing a Zoom. No, we are not allowed to gather at Paul's location like I did a couple years ago. I think Paul and
Right.
live in Wheaton, but I still had to drive downtown and figure out where to park.
Right.
Exactly.
And all that construction at the time. Yep.
Right, right. So right now, I know a lot of employers too are using Zoom or Google Meets, what have you, to interview. So reaching out via phone or email, it's the interview landscape is definitely changing.
I came up with like 3 or 4 other questions just based off of that. I'm trying to write them down as I go. But first, you said you're spending a lot more time going through the resumes, but there's a lot more resumes. So just so I understand and to be clear, more time in the process of going through resumes, plural, or more time on each individual resume? Does that make sense? I would think because you have more, you would spend even less time looking at each one.
I'm spending more time, yes, reviewing resumes, 120 versus 200, absolutely. But then also for the ones that catch my eye, your resume has to be eye-catching. The first, say, 5 lines have to be something that I'm engaged in, that makes me want to read your resume further. So if I do find a resume engaging, I do spend more time on that resume because honestly, I've seen the people who may have been in the workforce for 10, 15, 20 years and they're applying for a new job. They have no idea what to put in their bullet points for their job that they've had 15 years. So you really have to look into that aspect and kind of get a vision as to why is this person applying? What is it? What are their 3-page resume because I worked somewhere for 15, 20 years. But what of that 3 pages is really applicable to what Iloka is looking for?
So in the first 5 lines, you say, what does catch your eye?
Well, I think definitely in the beginning, I know it's easy to start with, I know we're past the objective, the objective statement, right? Is it safe to say that we're all past?
Yes.
And I would like to get a job that accurately reflects my skills and
education. Right. Hopefully, that's
yes, we're past that. So definitely, just to section that. What are your key skills? What is it what is your focus? Paul, as you mentioned, talent management, strategic planning, employee policy creation, that sort of thing. So what is it specifically that you do? What is it that you do? What experience do you have that is applicable to the job, my job that you're applying to?
Given the high COVID positivity rate, it's likely that some employees are going to get sick. How are companies and how are maybe your company specifically and what you're hearing from others, how are you reacting and planning to get that same work done? Obviously, you've got to use temp right up front, like we talked about, because you can't just say, oh, Steve's sick and he's fired. But you got to keep them on for a little bit and help them to be okay. But what do you do about the work that's got to get done in the meantime?
Right, correct. Yes. Yeah, we can't just get rid of Steve.
Right. All right.
That's a big problem. So some employers may, and we've done this on occasion, is just then disperse that individual's responsibilities to other employees. But as we all know, you can get burnt out. Maybe we don't realize how much that person actually did, which is in case where we would reach out to more than likely a temporary agency, a temp agency, which I highly recommend if you're out of work right now to register with a temp agency or a temporary and direct hire agency. A lot of them have two arms to their business. Because if we're looking at short-term independent contractors or 1099 employees, let's say, unless you're basically in IT, which is the most common for independent contractors, an organization like mine is not looking to source a 1099 employee from a pool of people. That's not something that we would do. So again, the temp agency registration, I highly recommend.
And then one of the main reasons for that is because they have to have, insurance and general liability insurance and workman's comp insurance, and they have to be incorporated in, a litany of requirements.
Yes, that is correct. And then also there have been recently more restrictive rules for contract employees. What is the definition of a contract employee? Contract employee is basically you give the employee an assignment with the guidelines. You set check-in points, and they are on their own to deliver that project to you. Whereas an administrative assistant, say someone comes down with COVID and they're out for 10 days, that is not a 1099 contract position. That's a temporary employee because we are providing guidance on a daily basis. So again, something to keep in mind just in general for a job search. For those of you first who don't know about Iloka is a full service semi-trailer dealership. So we provide trailers, not the tractors, but trailers that go across the United States and overseas. We sell the vans, we have flatbeds, double drops, Mack trucks, and the like. And we also sell and have service as well. We are located here in Aurora. We have right around 70 employees. We do have locations in Caledonia, Wisconsin, and Davenport, Iowa. But all of the positions that you see here today are for our Aurora location. We're located just west of Fox Valley Mall.
I hope that was helpful for you, and please check out the rest of our YouTube channel for more tips and strategies to help you with your job search. Just look for Speed Up My Job Search, all one word, or use the link on your screen now. Now, if you'd like to join us at our next meeting, just go to drivestaff.com/JDNG for details. Each month we cover a different aspect of networking to help you sharpen your networking skills and to help you build your network with the other attendees. Now, if the location or the time doesn't work for you, we do have an online version available as well, and you can still network with us in our online private member forum. I'd love to meet you at the next one, so I hope you can make it. Thanks for watching.